Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of the sick podcast, Recruits Draftcast. Not a whole lot going on this week in terms of draft eligible prospects, but we do have a bit of news. And one of them comes from the USHL, who just acquired one of the most highly touted Russian prospects. So apparently they acquired him. We'll get into that later on. It's this whole weird situation. So without further ado, let's get started.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Recruits Draftcast.
With our first pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, les Canadiens de Montréal sont fiers de repêcher from the Slovakian national team and TPS Turku, Yuri Slavkovsky.
The sickest NHL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Producer Shane here, reporting for duty. The man beside me, you know him, you love him. It's Grant McCagg. Grant, how are we feeling today?
Oh, I'm a little tired. I've been finishing off my fence project. I helped my neighbor do his, and that meant one out of my three sides was done. The boss put the hammer down, said, well, two of these things don't look like the other. You're going to have to fix that. So got the posts in. I'm not doing the post. It's really rocky here, and it would have taken jackhammers and augers and post hole digger. So I hired guys to do it, but the cement's hardened now, and you can't wait too long because the posts will start to warp and stuff. So 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. basically every day. Taking a little break here because I got to get this done. But yeah, it's been really hectic. So tired, but good tired.
Fair enough. Well, handyman Grant, love it. And still finds the time to talk about hockey.
Oh, you bet.
He's the best. Grant, before we get going here, the screen is getting a bit crowded. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing, right? Because this show would not be possible without our wonderful partners. And I want to give a big thank you, first and foremost, to Betway. Okay, they are a leading global online betting and gaming brand. Follow your gut instinct. Go with Betway. Okay, you go on betway.com or you scan the QR code under Grant to join the action. You must be 18 plus and play responsibly. And I also want to give a big thank you to the people at MKProp RE. Okay, if you're looking for a hat trick in real estate, Team MKProp RE delivers every time with 5-star Google reviews, professional photography to make your property shine, an unmatched West Island experience. Helen and Franco's award-winning service guarantees that your real estate journey is a winning play. Whether you're buying or selling, trust the team that makes every move a success. Call Helen and Franco at 514-915-1750. All right, Grant. We mentioned this a few shows prior, but there's going to be an event where CHL players, the top CHL players, are going to play the USNTDP for a 2-game little mini tournament prospect showcase. We thought this was a wonderful idea. Now we got a bit more development on that front. It'll be hosted by Oshawa and London, and it will take place November 26th and 27th. Now, like I said, it's a 2-game series. The top CHL prospects from all 3 leagues, they're going to make a team and they're going to play the USNTDP. So, you know, we might as well get into a bit of predictions if we want to, as to what the Canada roster could look like. I know you're going to dive deeper into that later on, and we're probably going to revisit this on another show. But first thoughts on that. What do you think we could see on the ice?
It's kind of nice that Oshawa's nice close by. I might try to see if I can get down for that game, the game that's in Oshawa. I'll see. It's nice to. I find though these prospect games, especially, you're just going to the game. It's almost fruitless because you have to watch it multiple times on video anyway. I think to really, because you're every shift, you can only watch all 10 guys. You can't watch them all at the same time, right? So I find that going to the games, you get a little bit of extra because it's always better to see prospects live. But when there's 40 to watch, I find that you really have to study the tape after and go over it a few times and almost go player by player or line by line and go through it a few times to really get a good feel for everybody.
That's it. Now, the USNTDP, I mean, we already know the roster. That's not going to change. And this year's, national team development program, it's not the strongest that we've seen, right? We recall maybe the 2019 team where, you had Jack Hughes, Cole Caulfield, Matt Boldy, right? That team was just next level. This NTDP team, it's good. It's going to rival the CHL players, but I don't know that it's, huge threat, if you will.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they play together all the time, and that gives them a distinct advantage over any all-star team. Their lines that play together all the time, and that gives you a big, Canada's had a lot of teams at the year-ending U18s that arguably have more talent than the U.S. team, but they play together all year, and they've been beating Canada quite a bit in recent years. So there's something to be said for that familiarity and playing set lines and playing together all the time. Yeah. So that will balance out any discrepancies in talent, I think, that there will be between the two squads. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there'll be more guys. There'll be more top 30 guys on the Canadian roster for sure, but that doesn't, as far as predicting who's going to win, I think it balances out when you got guys that play together all the time and on lines together. They aren't going to mix up the lines. They'll play their regular lines and they'll have familiarity. So that really balances out any discrepancies in talent.
That's a good point. No, that's it. The pre-established chemistry, right? You can't buy that, and it comes with time. So that's a really good point. I think those two games are going to be a lot of fun to watch. November 26th, 27th in Oshawa, in London. We're going to be talking about it. Grant might even be there. So stay tuned on that. Well, now, before Grant,
maybe we get you to go too.
Ooh, that's a bit of a drive. But maybe we'll see. Maybe
you're not that much further from Oshawa than I. Like you're a lot closer to the 401. So, you can't use that excuse. You're gonna get there almost as quickly as I can.
Yeah, we'll see when we get there. Busy man.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, no, that would be a lot of fun. But we're definitely covering it on this show. We're going to be talking about it. So stay tuned for that. Now, Grant, before we get to this week's big news, we want to give a big shout out to our newest sponsor, that being Sports Buff. All right. So Sport Buff, shop all your sports licensed lifestyle apparel, including hoodies, caps, and tees of all your favorite teams from all major leagues at sportsbuffshop.com. Okay. You use code SICK10 for 10% off all their items. So pretty good deal. Sportsbuffshop.com is the place to be. All right, Grant. Ivan Ryabkin. Now we've talked about him before. He is, the main, if you will, Russian prospect of this 2025 draft class. Maybe not on the level of Demidov, but still enough to be considered in the top 10 conversation. Now, his rights belong to Dynamo, and he has a contract until May 31st of 2027. Now this week, Muskegon Lumberjacks of the USHL announced that he'll be joining their team. So, I mean, we're all standing here scratching our heads like, how is this possible? I mean, are they terminating his contract? When is he coming over? It's just really strange. It's a strange situation, but it's also really exciting. Now, this isn't the first time this has happened, right? The players can terminate their contracts in the KHL. We've seen Matvei Michkov do it 2 years early. He's joined the Philadelphia Flyers this year. He was supposed to do so in 2 years from now. Now, Ivan Ryabkin might be on the verge of doing so himself. We saw last year, right, 2024 first round pick Matvei Gradin also played for the Muskegon Lumberjacks. But prior to that, he was with Avangard Omsk. I hope I said that right. This is a developing situation, but initial thoughts on on the news, Grant, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, it's not a huge surprise. I guess there's been some changes where it looks like it's not there's going to be more of these kids coming over because of some kind of agreement with the Russian. It has changed with the Federation. I don't know all the details, but I mean, Ryabkin looks at the way some other high drafted Russian prospects have been treated since, after their draft year, and probably thought, hey, I best to get out as soon as I can.
Wise decision.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't aware of this. I've been, like I say, been pretty busy with this fence project, so haven't really been on Twitter and social media a lot. And you're the one that kind of broke it to me just before the draft cast. So, yeah. But I did send a note for a couple of scouts, and a couple of them answered. I sent it to 4, and 2 answered. But one said, I've been asking around, but nothing is confirmed, which seems to go with what, seems like it's 50-50 at this point is which is what some people are saying. But another one said, I heard it's a go. So we'll up it from 50-50 to 60-40, maybe 65-35 that he's going to come over. I think he probably is. If the rumors out there and this and that, and
the team announced it, like they they announced that he was coming. So if he does it, that's really weird.
Well, I mean, Putin might have said, okay, hold it here, and dangling him outside of a fifth story of a hotel room there somewhere or something. And are you sure you want to go? Who knows? But maybe not Putin himself. But
no,
I hear he's got a couple of henchmen. Anyway, who knows? Maybe he's been persuaded to change his mind about it, but a little bit. I don't know, but no, he's probably going to come, I guess. And hey, that's good for the USHL. That's good for. That's good for NHL scouts because they're still not going to see Russian. Only their Russian scouts are seeing Russian prospects. European scouts aren't going to Russia. North American scouts definitely aren't going to Russia. So unless you're a Belarusian scout, you're not going to Russia to see hockey games. So it will give us all an opportunity to see this kid live, and whether that, I don't know if that's good or bad for his draft stock, but having him over is good for his draft stock
for sure,
no doubt about it. I mean, Michkov and Demidov, if they had played in North America in their draft years, it's safe to say that they would have likely have gone higher. Demidov, I think, would have been either first or second pick. And Michkov likely hire too, because there was unknown about how long he would be, and he ended up coming over, but you didn't know that at the time. And then we're seeing how Demidov, if he makes one lazy pass and he's benched for the rest of the game, even though he's +2 and scored a goal and assist in his last 2 games, and is the only forward that's +2 in the game, and he gets benched in the third period because he makes one lazy pass. So it's best for these guys to get out of there, because it just seems like they're not getting treated fairly, because they're going to be going to North America. So I hope it's the case that he comes over, and Muskegon will have they'll have lots of scouts coming out to the games again, just like last year. They had Sasha and Gerdine. They had Boisvert and Gerdine last year.
2 first-round picks.
They got Luka Radivojevic last week, the Slovakian defenseman that we featured a few weeks ago as a overrated prospect, but he's still
good. Yeah.
Well, he's still probably going top 60 somewhere, probably. So that's a good prospect. And again, it may end up helping his draft stock if he can come over and play a North American game and shine at the junior level. That will help ease some concerns about his lack of size, and will help his draft stock too. So it's going to be it seems like Michigan's getting a pile, seems like it's the main state to go see draft eligible prospects these days. Obviously with the U.S. development team, it seems like there's always a prospect or two playing in Michigan, and University of Michigan, and then now Muskegon every year seems to be getting these kids in that end up being high picks. So a major destination spot for the amateur scouts these days.
For sure. No, it's still a developing situation. We'll circle back on this when we know more, but the news dropped this week, and it was announced by the Muskegon Lumberjacks themselves. It's not just a report saying, Ryabkin might join the USHL. No, the team announced it. So there's got to be some validity to it. And if he does cross over, and when he does, I think it's going to be really exciting. I mean, his draft stock's been sliding a bit, right? Playing in Russia, playing with Dynamo. Not many people can see him play. You got to rely on video. And I don't know, he's not really been performing at his regular level. So hopefully this kind of launches him back up, and he can have a good draft eligible season. So very, very interesting stuff out of the USHL and Russian hockey.
Well, he's he plays I think he plays a North American style. He's it's more, I think he's highly regarded because he's so competitive and plays a two-way game as much as his skill. Like I don't know that he's maybe as skilled as some people think, but he plays hard. He plays responsible. He can play any position. I think he adapts quickly and easily to the USHL, and hopefully he puts up really good point totals, and he does that. Then he's, he certainly looks like a top 10 draft prospect, but we'll get a better idea if and when he comes and plays in North America. Yeah,
hopefully he does.
For sure.
I think that'll benefit just about everyone except Dynamo. Sorry. Yeah. It is how it is. All right. It's about time to talk about our prospects of the week. This week we got a sleeper, and we got an underage prospect because they just keep popping off, worth mentioning. But before we do, got to tell you guys about our good friends over at Insta Customs, okay? Insta Customs is Canada's highest rated apparel print shop at 4.9 Google stars, okay? Whether you need printed or embroidered t-shirts, hoodies, crew necks, hats, they've got you covered, okay? They specialize in emergency rush orders to meet your tight deadlines. While their store is conveniently located on Stanley Street in downtown Montreal, ordering online is so easy. Okay, you order today, it's printed today, you pick up or ship today. So visit them at instacustoms.com. And of course, our good friends, same friends, at Cheapest T-shirts. If you're looking for the cheapest clothing prices, check out CheapestTshirts.ca, where they offer the cheapest wholesale prices on 36 top clothing brands and 941 different items. Enjoy their unbeatable cheapest wholesale prices with no minimum order required. Order today, get it tomorrow. Don't miss out on amazing savings. Shop today at CheapestTshirts.ca. All right, we'll start with our sleeper prospect of the week. And this week belongs to Wilson Bjork. Great name. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I don't know if he can sing or not, but he can play hockey. This Bjork. That's Bjork with a C too. So he was passed over in last year's draft. I was looking at the Swedish junior scoring leaders, and there's two guys running away with it, and it just happens to be the two guys that we're featuring. But you can see there he's got some grit. He doesn't mind going to the net, getting a little bit involved. So I like that part of his game. But he's played 13 games. He has 11 goals and 15 assists. So 26 points in 13 games, 2 points per game. And he's listed at 182 centimeters. So he's probably somewhere around 5'11 and a half, which is fine. Like, that's a little undersized, but it's not. I don't think you call it. You don't designate that as short. That's, anywhere between 5'11 and 6'1 is kind of what most skilled forwards are in hockey. So I don't have an issue with that, especially if he plays with some grit. And as you can see in these highlights, he's quite involved. So this is a game against Altouma, and he had a goal and 3 assists, but it was not just the points. As you see, most of these highlights don't include his points, and he made a lot of good plays. Smart with the puck, protects the puck well, makes smart decisions. Didn't mind his defensive play, as we'll see in this highlight here is a good example. He hustles, and he's killing penalty here. So he's averaging about a minute per game on the PK. So they rely on him defensively as well as offensively, and the numbers bear it out. Mm-hmm. He's averaging 7.02 points per 60 minutes, which is really good. And he's on the ice for 2.16 goals against per 60. So that's a differential of plus 4.86 per 60, which,
wow.
I mean, that's crazy good. That just tells you that he is dominating, right? Hopefully he gets to play in some U20 events, perhaps even is considered for the World Juniors, as he's clearly reached another level in his game this year. And he's, quite possibly the most dominant player in Swedish junior hockey. So he blossomed over the year. And there was a nice play to take the pass that was off the mark, and he took it and quickly put it in the open net. But look at the edges on that play. Really, really good edges, smart, good puck skills, and spots the guys. Like, that's a beautiful pass he made there. I really like his vision. I like his puck decisions. He's a really good passer, good playmaker, and he hustles. You can see on these forechecks that he likes to forecheck, and he hustles. And I liked every part of his game watching this, the highlights of this game. So I think that he's a kid, and then he finishes his check there too. I think he was only credited with 2 hits in this game, but I counted 4 or 5. So he doesn't mind finishing his checks. Good on the power play, moves the puck around really well. Got a good shot too. There was a nice passing play. Here he is again, forechecking effectively. He stays between the puck and the opponent, cuts off passing lanes. Good speed. I like his quickness and I like his edges. There's his goal. Anticipates the play very well. And he's pretty versatile. Like, he only averages 4 faceoffs a game, but he does also play center. In this game, he played all 3 positions. So I like that versatility. But also on the power play, he basically quarterbacks things on the point. So four positions out of 5 he played in this game, and that always impresses me when a kid shows that he can play multiple positions, and that's in the span of 1 game. So I just you have to factor in the fact that he'll be turning 19 this year. So yeah, you expect him to be ahead of draft eligible guys, but he's way ahead. I don't know that there's a draft eligible Swede that's playing better than he is this year. So,
Wow.
In the junior, like in Swedish junior.
Mm-hmm.
So you factor that in. Like, a good player is a good player. Like scouts always say, and I agree. Like, it doesn't matter when they develop; it's that they develop, and he's done that. So I think, based on what I'm seeing, based on his production, based on the fact that his good bloodlines, his father played 15 years Swedish pro hockey, and he's got a younger brother on this team who has 17 points in 13 games. He's not eligible. He's not eligible till next year. He's a 2008. So there's those bloodlines, right? Obviously, the old man probably, just like the Hudson family there, probably had a rink in the backyard, or maybe he bought an arena too, like Rob Hudson, and teaching these kids well, has brought them up well, good genes, and I think based on, you got to be impressed by those highlights. There's lots to like about his game, so I think he's one of the guys that you're going to see when Central Scouting puts out its its lists, and that you'll see him on there, and maybe even fairly high, because he looks like a draft to me for sure at this point. And I hopefully he keeps putting up. If he puts up anywhere near 2 points a game for the season,
it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Yeah, for sure. And he's not like he's 5'8" or something like that. He's decent size. He competes. He's decent defensively. He checks off all the boxes, and I call him the Swedish sleeper of the week.
He was slept on last year, right? He slipped through the cracks, and this year we're telling the scouts that watch this show, don't sleep on Wilson Bjork. All right, that's your warning right there. Wilson Bjork is our sleeper prospect.
When did Castaway come out?
I feel like that's early 2000s. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's. I wonder if he's named after Wilson, or.
That's from literally 2000. I was right.
Yeah, well,
on the money.
Because you wonder, a Swedish kid, and his dad didn't play in North America or anything. He didn't. I don't know if he played with a Wilson or whatever, but it's a different first name for a Swedish kid, and who knows? Maybe, I don't know if they were big fans of the movie Castaway and decided to name him after Wilson, or Home Improvement, maybe even. Who knows? It'd be cool to get the background on if there was a reasoning behind them naming the kid Wilson.
Yeah, maybe they wanted him to be a tennis player. I don't know.
Yeah, that
Wilson rackets. Anyways,
that could be too.
Yeah. point is, parents did a good job raising a good player. So two good players. His brother might be featured later in the show some other day, but we do have an underage prospect this week, eligible for next year's draft, and we're going to stick in Sweden here with our underage prospect of the week, Ivar Stenberg. Let's have a look.
He is well, we were introduced to Ivar Stenberg at the Helenka in August with his 4-goal, 2-assist game versus Switzerland as a 16-year-old. And he finished third in scoring at the Helenka with 10 points in 5 games. So I decided he's leading the Super Elite League with 13 goals and 28 points in a dozen games, an average of 2.3 points per game. Like, that's in Lucas Raymond territory in his year before he was drafted. So obviously his brother, Stenberg's a familiar name. His brother Otto was picked 25th overall by St. Louis a couple of years ago. Now, very similar type player, very, a little undersized. Actually, he's even smaller than his brother, so that might hurt him a bit come draft. But hey, he just turned 17, so maybe he grows a bit yet too. Right? But these are all of his points highlights, and as you can see, he's got quite a shot. He's a crafty playmaker, very quick, very skilled, nice skater, sniper. Just all of the offensive skills are there. He checks off the boxes. So he's even been called up now for an SHL game. So
wow,
that's always impressive for a kid that just I believe he turned 17 on September 30th, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty young to be getting a look at it. But when you put up numbers like that, you gotta have a look at the kid. And so he may, with his performance at Helenka and the start to this year, he might get an invite to the Sweden's World Junior Camp. I'm not sure if they're making any cuts or not. If they're, some years they just name a squad and they don't make cuts, not like Canada and that. But I don't know. He's got to be in the running, I think, just with his production. But he has a lot of same traits as Otto. Quick, soft hands, sees the ice well. He's a smart playmaker and a quick release. And much like Otto, he's an opportunist, I think it's fair to say. He has a tendency to make plays on the perimeter. Listed at 5'10", 168. I think he's got a year to go, right? But he'll need to exhibit more willingness to go to the dirty areas and battle if he wants to be a high pick. Otto arguably had top 10 skill. Always produced in his draft year, every tournament, even in junior. But being undersized and a bit perimeter ultimately hurt his draft stock. So it'll be the same deal with him because he's undersized. They'll have to. Scouts will want to see a little more grit to his game, but just look at that pass. That's how it ended. That's how it ended there. Wasn't that a beauty?
Wow.
You don't see that one too often when he around the net and then turn back, find the guy. So he's got eyes in the back of his head. You like that. You always like that trait. That's something that Gretzky had, where he can make the passes. He anticipates where the guy's going to be and makes a play without really looking. You got to love his offensive skills. You got to love that at, the year before he's eligible for the draft, he's leading the Swedish juniors in scoring. Very promising, very promising. So another kid that'll be in the mix. We've already featured a couple for next year's draft that it looks like there's going to be some really high scoring, exciting prospects for next year's draft that we'll keep an eye on over the next 16 to 18 months.
Big time. No, that's it. We featured Maddox Dagenet. I mean, we talked about Gavin McKenna at great lengths. That 2026 draft, I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but are we really? Like, this thing's special. Yeah. It's really special, but so is the 2025 draft, and we're going to keep covering that right here on the SIG Podcast, Recruits Draftcast. If you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's free, okay? It's free, so you don't miss any videos. On Sunday, we'll be back to cover the Habs, right? What's happening there, and we'll touch on Demidov because, of course, we will. We always talk about Demidov. He's always in the news, right? So is his freaking coach. But anyways, it's beyond the point. We're not there yet. Sunday will be the day. So, Ivar Stenberg, our underage prospect of the week. Wilson Bjork is our sleeper of the week. A Swedish show with a flavor of Russian in here. I think this was a good one, Grant. Always a pleasure talking hockey with you, and thank you all for tuning in as always. We do appreciate the support. So we'll see you Sunday. Until then, have a good one, everyone. Take care.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the SIG Podcast, Recruits Draftcast on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.